At SXM, we're taking travel and tourism to new heights. Here we boast spacious check-in areas, 10 passport control points, comfortable departure lounges, and an exciting new airport mall. Finally, there's an airport in the Caribbean that takes your travel plans as seriously as you do. Princess Juliana International Airport. The experience will move you.
Welcome to Late Night Show. Hope everything is okay. Hope everything is all right. I'm your host on this Holy Thursday, Angelic. Okie dokie, kids, what's happening on the lovely island of St. Martin? We begin with the news of Dr. Luc Mercelina versus the governor of St. Martin. You see in the pictures side by side? That's them right there. One is the formateur, which is the formation guy. And the next one is the Dutch. The governor. The crown. The man in charge, the head nigger in charge. That's him. That's it. Those two. That's what we have. Now, of course, because of pressure, because we've been asking for updates on what is going on with his new government since we had elections, a press release was sent. Some kind of how, supposed to be a press release from Dr. Luc Mercelina, leader of the URSM and the formateur. It's reading time. Should I read it or let the AI read it? I will read it because I do the best Luc Mercelina impression. Okay, let me turn around. Okay. Had to powder my nose. Let me start off with the following. Dr. Luc Mercelina gives update on formation. March 28th, which is the deadline. Today was the deadline for the final report to be given to the governor, Ajamo Bailey. However, this did not take place because it's the 28th and St. Martin people like last minute. Therefore, we asked for what? More time. More time on the time we already have. I swear to God, when God come down and tell us, hey, we need to go, you're gonna be like, but wait, hold on, no, give me a few, let me come back. I ain't ready. As appointed formateur, as appointed the formateur, Dr. Luc Mercelina, I recognize the growing concern among the public regarding the time of the swearing-in ceremony for the members of the new Council of Ministers. Today, March 28, 2024, I have provided His Excellency, the Governor of St. Martin, with the latest developments in my role as formateur. In light of our commitment and transparency, I deem appropriate to offer the public an update on the ongoing formation process. Firstly, it is crucial to understand the dual nature of the formateur mandate. Initially, I am asked with ascertaining the presence of the parliamentary majority to establish a new government. Subsequently, the formateur is responsible for submitting the outcomes of the screening process, ensuring eligibility of candidate ministers, thus paving the way for swearing-in ceremony. I am pleased to confirm that aspect as the mandate I have been fulfilled. The coalition majority ratified a political agreement on January the 12th, 2024, followed by the endorsement of Governing Accord February 21, 2024. Additionally, the nominated candidate ministers continue to await the outcome of the screening with all necessary information duly furnished to the relevant authorities, being the Prosecutor General and the VDSM as stipulated by national decree. This is where it gets annoying. The second phase of the assignment mandates the formateur to await the screening results from the designated institution, as neither the formateur nor the governor possesses the authority to intervene in the process. It is pertinent to note that the national decree does not specify a timeline for the completion of these screenings. To provide context, historical data indicates an average duration of almost 2 months between the swearing in of parliamentary members and the inauguration of the Council of Ministers. For instance, following the 2020 elections, while parliamentary members were sworn in on February 10, 2020, the Council of Ministers took office on March 28, 2020. In light of the recent elections, where parliamentary members were sworn in on February 10th, adhering to the aforementioned average timeline would entail the swearing in of the new Council of Ministers, by example, April 10th. Notably, this calculation includes the 2-week period allotted for informateurs, although in this instance, the formation process commenced directly with the appointment of the formateur. In conclusion, I wish to assure the public that both the formateur and the newly formed majority remain steadfast in their commitment and swear in the new Council of Ministers. Our collective aim is to commence governance in the best interest of the people of St. Martin. Signed, Dr. Luc Mercelina, formateur. The governor saw the bullshit. The governor was like, oh, no. You don't get to blame me, nigga. No. And the press release from the governor was simple and straightforward and to the point. His Excellency Governor Ajumai Bailey met with formateur Luc Mercelina on Thursday and received an update on the formation. The formateur requested additional extension to present Governor Bailey with the final formation report as the background screening of the candidate ministers is presently still ongoing. Taking this into account, Governor Bailey granted the commission for Dr. Mercelina to present him the final report by April 26, 2024. The end. So one side, it is important that we all come together and realize that this process will take time, and the time that it takes for this process will continue to slide from one side to the other, from one moon to the other, from the Dutch side to the French side, because where over the world, say when you hear an island then, so lovely small in nature's free, and you're like, wait, what going on? You pass the screening? Who passes screening? We're gonna have a government? Somebody tell me something. On the other side, governor like, Pana ask for more time. I say, okay, cool, bet. The end. Dr. Mercelina is showing his inexperience. Like the young people would say, it's giving inexperience. For the life of me, I don't get why this man don't get some experienced negotiators, some experienced politicians, and, have a conversation, get feedback. Instead, my boy still busy being a doctor at the St. Martin Medical Center while he's supposed to be forming the government. Like a whole doctor, full schedule, per normal. Schedule your appointment to see Dr. Mercelina because he's going to check you. Is this a good start? Yes, it is. Because then I have content for every single day for late night. So continue, doc. But I think at some point, you have to decide what we're going to do. We're going to continue messing around, or we're going to run a country. Because are you playing parliamentarian in budget meetings and want to tell outgoing ministers about themselves when you're supposed to have your ministers there? And the outgoing minister is supposed to be home. And the members who are members of the Council of Ministers and are parliamentarians supposed to be just parliamentarians in opposition, screaming at every single thing that you are doing wrong, because you know how it is with opposition. Like I said, this was a cute tactic of stating that more time is needed, and you didn't know what to tell St. Martin, so You're like, you know what? Let me blow smoke up their ass. Let me just tell them we working. Basically, everything that I've been saying for the past 3 weeks, take them in. Take almost there. Take on reach. In reaching, almost had it. And then he comes over with a press release. You know what? Let me break my silence and let me tell the people. Take them in. What am I doing here? St. Martin's supposed to be a real place. All right. Let's begin the show. Avec Pete. Avec.
Hi, Mom. How are you?
Hi, darling. I'm fine. Just calling to say hi.
Oh, okay. We got over here.
Girl, I hear watching this movie and it.
But, Mom, you finished all your minutes yet?
No, girl. Talem has new postpaid plans and automatically upgraded my postpaid package.
Is that so?
Guess what? I am getting more minutes and almost double the amount of data for the same price.
I guess I'm making a switch now.
Let me call you back, Mom.
Hey, Tash, you hear about Telem new postpaid plans?
Coming to you from the Parliament building of St. Martin. Of course, it's all about what we call Budget 2024, the showdown. It goes down right here in Parliament. Of course, in Parliament, everything is fair game. Everything is about, the show. It's about making sure that people are informed, yet even though they are the ones who have to inform us, and they were supposed to be the ones that are informed, if it makes sense? No, because we're in front of the Parliament building of St. Martin. Now, of course, ministers are on deck, meaning that they are here. They have also the members of Parliament. The only one that's not here, I believe, is Minister Duran, who's still missing. Pete, you still got a flyer? He's missing still. I can't find him. Somebody tell me where Minister Duran is. Where Duran is. Remember years ago they had something called Where Waldo? I know, are you too young to know where Waldo is, right? What we're going on with Waldo, but where Duran? That's what I want to know. Anyway, we're going to give you some highlights of the meeting today. We started yesterday, Wednesday. Today is Thursday. We're going to give you another segment on Friday because there's a lot of them. So let me start off with the first showboxers, the first show-offs. So we're going to start off with the first set.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being present today. Thank you, ministers, for today for the presentation. I would dive straight into the questions one time. I don't have much questions because maybe it's around two. But for the first question is to Minister of Finance. Can you, Minister, provide Parliament with an update of the tax reform and what is the current status and what are the timelines? Number two, a lot has been said about compliance and collection, whereby taxes have increased compared to 2023 budget and by 42 million guilders. I would like to know whether there are any update on discussion between the government and RTS. Can the minister please give me an update on the new stickers that have been provided instead of the new plates or the current figures to compare with last year's road tax payment? Why is it not possible to request for tax exemption structure anymore if the law is still in the Council of Vice? Why is the structure removed? This is question for Minister Vromi. It's a question that my MP asked, MP Kevin McGrath. It's a question to relate to the serious traffic problems on the island. I wonder the minister can give me some kind of outline or medium or long term to address it because, to be frank, the people of St. Martin need more roads, I must say, because we don't have enough roads. What is the plan and process from the, I think it's Dutch Quarter to St. Peter's, is that correct, and also the order from Margaret to St. Peter's? As the only question, honestly, from Minister of Tourism. The following question is about the tourist tax. How will it be implemented? Will it be placed by the airport or harbor? Will it be by the departure hall, the arrival hall? Who's getting these revenues from the tax reform? The government or the airport or the harbor? Will the tax include will the taxes be included in the tickets? What was the private sector consultant regarding this tax? And where can the public view this law? And also, this is a statement for either the incoming government or coming in. During Christmas time, we see the lack of Christmas decoration. Yes, we have wrong about decoration, I believe. I believe that we as a government should provide more for the country of St. Martin, for the people of St. Martin, towards the increasing of Christmas spirits to the island. People want to see more liveliness. I also believe it should be in regards to celebration of St. Martin Day also. I understand that times are hard for everyone, but we should try to at least give back to our people of St. Martin. Let us take an example for our neighbor islands for the French side, how beautiful it was for the Christmas, how they will light up. Minister of Finance, Mr. Versa, I don't have much for you, only one question. Pertaining to the minister, I have received different complaints from therapists that they continue to receive payments from SVB late. Are you aware of this? And if so, what do you do to address this matter? Minister of Justice, are there any plans put in place to ensure the safety of everyone during the carnival season, especially seeing that what happened during the jump up, such as street lights and extra pay for the officers, and also once again, I have to spotlight this minister. Are there any anything for the fights for up at the school, the camera for districts? We have protectors to protect our students. And also, like we see by the Ebenezer side there, by the playground, people vandalizing the playground and all these things. If you could pour a spotlight up there. And also for 3, I've noticed in the coming for the new prison, also does not include any girls under the age of 18. What will be done for this group? They have no cells. There are also no institutes put for minor female penitentiary detention for serious crime. When will it be handled? Are there any plans between the Minister of Justice, Versa, and Education to tackle the lack of social institutions or troubled youths? And what are the temporary solutions? That will be all for now.
Thank you, MP Arundel. And as I look to my left, I see that our next speaker is MP Kevin Mingret. MP Mingret, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pleasant good afternoon to your honorable ministers. Pleasant good afternoon to everybody in the Tribune and to my MP colleagues and everybody who's watching via social media platform. Through you, Madam Chair, I have a couple questions posed to the ministers, starting with the Minister of Romy. The ministry has reported the completion and progress of several housing projects. Could you inform us of the income range targeted to these social housing initiatives? Additionally, is there a rent-to-own option available for potential homeowners? Within the allocated budget of $8.6 million, are there plans to construct new roads? If so, could you outline these plans? With respect to road repairs, are there specific plans to implement proper drainage systems to address the long-standing issues of water accumulation? Through you, Madam Chair, this is a question posed to the Minister of Justice. Turning Point has disclosed a funding of $1.55 thousand USD. Would it be possible to provide a detailed report on the allocation and expenditure of these funds? Does Turning Point cater to both men and women? Furthermore, are there plans for expansion focusing specifically on services for women and young girls? Is Turning Point the sole organization offering assistance for substance abuse? If not, do other such organizations also receive government subsidies? And could an alternative strategy be expanding existing services instead of Turning Point? Can the minister indicate what % of the $26 million slated for administrative costs for UNOPS? Through you, Madam Chair, this is a question for the Prime Minister. Can you provide an outline on all NRPB, the start date of projects, guiding ministries, commitments, and the remaining balance per project? Through you, Madam Chair, this is a question for all the ministers, and my last question is, could each ministry provide a current update on the status percentage of financial commitment fulfilled for all their capital expenditure, the CapEx projects? That'll be all, Madam Chair. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair Lady. Good afternoon to our Secretary General. Good afternoon to the ministers, my colleagues, and a few of you in the Tribune and those listening and viewing online. Madam Chair Lady, I just have questions for 3 ministers today. You're one, yes? Starting with you, Minister of Finance. Yes, 3 ministers, just a few questions, actually some clarifications based on the final report that we received. And of course, yes, I will be starting with the Minister of Finance and Madam Chair Lady with regards to the Cadastre, mainly that. I've listened to the Minister of Finance during the Central Committee meeting and read his answers in the report. I want to remind the Minister, through you, Madam Chair Lady, that of that letter I sent via the Chair on July 5th, 2023, stating my serious concerns about the financial viability of the Cadastre and the aforementioned handling of the organization by the Minister and Supervisory Board. I have the letter here. Well, yes, I have it. I have it with me, printed. The reference of that letter is UV/204/2022-2023. And I don't recall receiving ever a response to that letter. And Madam Chair, based on that, on the answers provided by the Minister during the question hour, as well as the information provided to my colleagues and I during that closed-door meeting with the Managing Board of the Cadastre last year, I am now even more concerned and convinced that something is seriously wrong when it comes to the manner in which the Minister and the Supervisory Board has dealt with the Cadastre and its Managing Board for the past few years. This includes flagrant breaches of corporate governance principles where the Supervisory Board oversteps its authorities and attempts to assume the role of the Managing Board. Based on the answers provided by the Minister, I conclude that in addition to the questionable timing of the reappointments and regardless of the advice of the Corporate Governance Council, there appear to be conflicts of interest with at least 2 of the current members of the Supervisory Board. I also concluded that the Minister seems to have retroactively used a legal trick to allow what technically is a second reappointment or third appointment of members of the Supervisory Board, using this legal trick retroactively, annulling appointments and making another appointment allows government to reappoint Supervisory Board members and reappoint them infinitely. My next conclusion is that despite the projected negative financial ramifications for Cadastre to hire a CFO and a COO, as mentioned in my letter of July 5th, the recruitment process has continued and will be finalized soon for the CFO. Madam Chair Lady, through you, in order to get more clarity on what exactly has been going on at the Cadastre, and with reference to its articles of incorporation and my letter of July 5th, 2023, I hereby request the Minister via the Supervisory Board or otherwise to provide Parliament with the following information for clarification purposes. Through you, Madam Chair Lady, can the Minister of Finance please provide Parliament with the written legal advice based on which reappointments of the Supervisory Boards took place, the reasons there was a need to reappoint members of the Supervisory Board effective April 1st, 2023 in the first place, when it was well known that their term would end on March 30th, 2023, and the Minister, therefore, could and should have started the recruitment process in a timely manner, and also provide information, a written substantiation of the Supervisory Board to recruit a CFO and COO, and the opinion and advices of the Managing Director to the Supervisory Board on this matter. My next question through you, Madam Chair Lady, I'll leave it at that for the Minister of Finance. My next question through you is to the Minister of General Affairs. Clarifications for the most. After reviewing the answers provided, I have a question for the Honorable Prime Minister, and it's regarding my inquiry to whether there has been an increase in the fuel throughput over the last decade. According to GB's response, they stated no, to the best of their knowledge. However, this response has left me a bit perplexed. My first question is, was the Port of St. Martin contacted to assist with some of these questions? Yes or no? Because as far as my research entails, the port's throughput fee, is less than 1 cent, 0.0044 to be exact, and that has maintained that price fixed for the over 10 years. That price has maintained like that for the over 10 years. Therefore, I reiterate my query. Has there been any escalation in the fuel clause over the past 10 years? And if so, how is it possible that there has been no increase in the throughput fee while there has been an increase in the fuel clause? If there hasn't been an increase in the throughput over the past 10 years, then Prime Minister, through you, Madam Chair Lady, why was there a claim that the fuel clause increased due to port fees? That's the one clarification I have. My last set of questions is to, who else? The Minister of TIAT. Madam Chair, Lady, through you, I'd like to ask the Honorable Minister some questions because some of the answers provided in the report was still a bit vague for me. And one of those was about the Met Office, the Civil Aviation Architectural Drawing that was funded by the NRPB. Could the Minister, through you, clarify its relevance to the Princess Juliana International Airport regaining its Category 1? Is there any relevancy in that? If the building construction is linked to the airport's Category 1 rating, and what percentage of significance does this particular infrastructure hold in achieving and maintaining that desired rating? Could the Minister, through you, Madam Chair, Lady, provide a comprehensive breakdown of phases, steps, estimated timelines for the completion of the Met Office, the Civil Aviation Building Project? Additionally, can the Minister please provide the proposed budget allocation for this project? I think I have it already, but still state it for the record, if please. And who owns the land on which the Met Office Aviation Building will be constructed? And has the cost of the land been factored into the total cost of the project? Are we leasing the land? Are we buying the land? Are we getting the land for free? I just need some clarity there. Regarding the new market vendors place, another thing that was pretty vague for me, the last we heard, there was just 2 signatures and something, and then it was a bit vague for me. So I have a few questions here, specific questions. What steps has been undertaken thus far for the development of the new market vendors place, from site selection to the completion of the architectural drawings, obtaining a letter of intent, and commitment for the opening and launch? Has consultations been held with all existing vendors regarding the new marketplace vendors, the new marketplace? How many vendors will the facility accommodate? How many vendors have been approached? And what level of interest have they expressed in securing a location in the proposed venue? Regarding the committed tourism product improvement plan, another subject. What specific strategies or initiatives are included, and how do stakeholders plan to ensure its successful implementation and impact on enhancing the visitor's experience? Additionally, could the Minister, through you, Madam Chair Lady, provide details on the allocations of the budgeted 2.5 million guilders, including which activities it is committed to? Furthermore, how much of the capital expenditure, the CapEx then, was already committed and spent in 2023, specifying the projects involved? And lastly, Madam Chair, my last question for round 1, Madam Chair, is there a comprehensive plan in place for each project within the improvement plan? Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
So what is Parliament without drama? Drama, 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 drama. We continue with drama. Let's go to drama piece number 1.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and good afternoon to everyone. I only have a few questions, Madam Chair, so I'm going to dive right into them. Madam Chair, I'm going to start with the Minister of VSR. But we already had a little discussion concerning some things I wanted to ask him. And Madam Chair, through you, it's mainly pertaining to the hospital, coming back to it again. I know the Minister is stuck on his timeline when he believes it's going to be complete. But in that discussion, something came up, and I start to think about it. And Minister, through you, Madam Chair, to the Minister, it's concerning the helipad. I know you didn't elaborate a bit much on it, but you also made mention that in this construction, there's going to be a helipad. I would like to know if the hospital itself is going to own that portion of the helipad, and if the answer to that is yes, then the next question would be, do we have a helicopter? When the other serious accident is from the road or wherever it's at, ambulance picks up to the hospital, and then from the hospital to the airport, if the individual have to be flown out. So they'll be flown out through that way. in certain places, because of emergencies, traffic backed up, the helicopter can land somewhere, get the person on board, and rush them to the hospital one time. I don't think that is the use of it, because there's nowhere else on the island that it will be able to land. So I'm trying to get a gist of the use of the helipad and the helicopter for what it really will be used for. I also want to know, does this tie in also, Madam Chair, with the medical alliance that all the islands now is part of? Would we be evacuating people, not evacuating, but would we be bringing people also from Sabre and Statia, okay, in emergencies? And who will be paying for that? And what's the cost of it? So what I'm trying to get at, Minister, through you, Madam Chair, is the real cost, one, and the use of the helipad and the helicopter and whoever all is going to be using it, and what the cost of it would be. And then a different question to that: do you believe that vaping and vaping products should be banned in St. Martin? And if your answer is yes, can you elaborate why? And if your answer is no, can you also elaborate why? Thank you very much. Madam Chair, I also have a few questions as well for the Minister of Justice. I would like to understand, Minister, through you, can you give an explanation on all that it takes to grant a permit for an event? What all does it take? Because listening to your radio interview, you said there's a number of individuals or institutions that needs to be taken into consideration. For example, the police department. And you need to look also at if there's going to be any sort of emergencies or anything that can happen. So I would like to know, what does it take to grant a permit for an event? Minister, can you explain, or can you sort of give an explanation what it is that constitute the central bank giving dividends to St. Martin? How does that work? Because the chairlady one time said, if you're going to give dividends, you must be able to give it from having something. Madam Chair, also, when it comes to Bearing Point, is there a court case to the tune of 20 million that Bearing Point, I'm asking the question, that Bearing Point will be levying against the government of St. Martin? If the answer to that is yes, can the minister explain the reason for that? Why would Bearing Point be bringing a monetary case against the government of St. Martin? What would be the reason of it? Now, Madam Chair, I don't have no questions for education. I don't have no questions for TIA. But I have a few questions for the Honorable Prime Minister. And Madam Chair, it's for educational purpose.
This is our country, not your country, but our country.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Now, Madam Chair, I had a discussion and it went into an argument because the individual was saying, we are part of this. And I was telling them, no. He's talking about the Netherlands. And the individual said, yeah, but we are part of the Netherlands. And I told him, no. The reason why I'm asking this question, Madam Chair, through you, can the Honorable Prime Minister explain what's the difference between the Netherlands, Holland, and the Kingdom of the Netherlands? And which one of those states is St. Martin a part of? Because, Madam Chair, we have a mosque in this country, and we have Muslims in this country. And we are peaceful with everyone in this country. Also, sticking with the Prime Minister, Madam Chair, this issue, with Telem is still sort of disturbing to me. So I want to ask the Prime Minister, Madam Chair, can the Honorable Prime Minister explain what was the reason for Telem buying cable TV? What was the reason for that purchase? And how much was that purchase, Madam Chair Lady. And if that purchase of cable TV was to acquire the infrastructure of cable TV, I would like to ask the Honorable Prime Minister, is the infrastructure of cable TV being used today? Also, Madam Chair, I received a question from one of my colleagues to ask, and I know that one of the colleagues also made mention as to pre-clearance being off of the books. But I would like to ask the Honorable Prime Minister if they have any intentions whatsoever in terms of going after pre-clearance. But for me, it's a question I wouldn't ask, because I don't expect the Prime Minister to be there much longer. So I wouldn't be asking that question, Madam Chair. However, there's where they are, so I'm going to ask the question still as well. And also, Madam Chair, is it so that the U.S. did pull back, and what are the reasons for that? I thank you very much, Madam Chair Lady. I'll await these answers, and I'll prepare much more for the second round. Thank you.
Let's go to drama piece number 2, because they don't know how to act when it comes to being in this very nice hall. They don't know how to behave themselves. So we have to showcase their behavior on the late night show, because they just don't know how to behave. I just don't understand it. I don't know. Pete, show it.
This is what has happened, just so it's not hearsay. I've had persons come up to me and tell me that they're going crazy when they have to pay people in a parking lot in Galleys Bay. And this is not money that comes to the coffers of Rami, the same ministry that is actually increasing their airport revenue generation that is coming in. So I want to know, the Ministry of Rami mentioned integrity training. My question was very clear. Does it include not taking bribes? That's what my question is, and I think hopefully I clarified it. Moving right along onto Rami, another person again, personal experience, coming up to me as a representative of the people and told me that they weren't aware that water rights were given to specific areas of water off of the Bayside. So let me explain it properly. So when I go swim in the water by DV, in the area where you have the underwater museum, they were told you cannot come there. So and then they were like, how do you mean I can't swim there in this area? Because you have to pay $10. So I'm just wondering, for the Ministry of Rami, if they gave water rights to the underwater museum, because the people who were swimming were told by someone on the boat, you cannot enter here unless you pay $10. So if that is the case, again, Rami, the same ministry that actually increased, I believe, 3 million is what the minister said, about 3 million in the airpark. So they're doing a really good job of increasing the revenue because they're enforcing, right, what people have to pay for airpark. I just want to know if there's new areas that they can get extra revenue on, which is now in the water. And if that's the case, that's what happened this week. So I'm asking a question based on an actual experience. Now, let me see. I believe MP Gums was talking about constructions on Mullet Bay with containers, and it goes back to my same question of the release of new building code. If when you're doing building code, if we're allowed to have, if this building code includes somewhere containers, because I couldn't find it based on the 2 different versions I found online. And the reason I bring it up again, right? Salt water is corrosive, okay? Everyone that live on St. Martin knows that when you have metal by your house, especially if you're on the water side, everything gonna rust. We have a big problem of rust. So if you're gonna bring containers on a bay side, I want to know what magic are you doing to make sure it don't rust, and then you actually going to be contributing more litter on the island when it starts eroding and you have corrosive metal. So again, it's just reiterating what MP Gowns is bringing up about Mullet Bay. Brommy also mentioned in the answers actually that we got about enforcement. So if you have to bear with me because I need to go in here to see where actually it was talking about, we asked about sewage. MP Gums also mentioned about the $17 million sewage plant. And what it said was, Brommy will continue the enforcement of the applicable laws. Somewhere along that, I may have paraphrased, my apologies. But I would like to know if they can tell me the last time that Vromi issued a fine for somebody letting their septic or their sewage out. That's what I would like to know. Because they say enforcement of the applicable laws. They will continue the enforcement of the applicable laws. And let us see. I think that's actually it, Madam Chair. Once I have my graph with all my answers, second round, we'll have everything come together in a nice picture. Thank you very much.
Let's go to drama piece number 3, because drama is what pays them, and drama is what drives us. That's kind of like St. Martin makeup. But drama piece number 3, because the drama just gets better and better and better, and all these new MPs getting confidence.
The national budget that we traditionally fight with every year does not give me the space that I would need to work on the concept of nation building. We have to understand that very good, that the way we are shifting with money from one department to the other, from one ministry to the other, giving ourselves the illusion that we are working on progress of this country is not going to happen if we do not think bigger outside the box with this budget. I need a national budget with a surplus to work on the concept of nation building. If we do not have a surplus in our budget, my grandchildren will be still paying interest on Dutch loans without ever having a national library, a national university, and a national sport complex. If we settle for these types of national budgets year in, year out, we will never get a decent traffic infrastructure in this country. We will never be able to have our national library. We will never be able to have a national university, a national police academy, an acceptable, sustainable healthcare system, reliable utility company, reliable, sustainable telecommunication, and a great social welfare system for our people. I am today requesting the Dutch government to really commit to develop and contribute to actually a prosperous St. Martin. By entertaining these type of traditional national budgets that we have, we are going to remain victim of our own destiny. Actually, the reparation that seems to be a sensitive topic that each Caribbean country is talking about nowadays is nothing more than a cry for understanding and assistance for the realization of the concept of nation building. I repeat, the reparation that Caribbean islands are crying about is for understanding and assistance for the realization of future nation building for their country. Furthermore, I would like to address 2 areas that we need to work on together, namely the timing of this budget and the dependency on the Netherlands after Hurricane Irma, Maria, and the COVID pandemic. The first issue being the timing of consideration of our budget. In the Constitution, Article 100, Paragraph 3, it is stipulated that the budget of country St. Martin must be presented to Parliament before September 1st, preceding the next fiscal year. In my opinion, that sounds extremely logical. After all, every company, every organization, and also every country want to know what the budget is before we start a new year. I have therefore been surprised in past years, and I'm surprised again now that the budget has not been set prior to the new year. You can ask yourself why we cannot manage to adopt the budget earlier. Apparently, the internal processes within the civil service and administration are not sufficiently in order to finalize a budget within an orderly process of handling. If we as a country of St. Martin pretend to stand on our own feet, That implies that we will need a solid foundation as a country, and that foundation also includes the discipline to adopt a budget prior to a subsequent budget year.
MP Marlin, you have the opportunity to interrupt at this time.
Madam Chair, a point of interruption again. I heard my colleague MP said that he's rather surprised again that this budget didn't finish on time. But when I listened to the minister, said that the budget was ready since March 2023. That was last year, not this year. And it had to do with minor changes because of the Enya saga. So to say now that the minister haven't done that is quite confusing. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP Marlin. MP Marcelina, you may continue.
Outgoing government has presented a budget, and that budget is composed by a large number of established financial items, both in revenues and expenditures. Given the timing of consideration of the budget, we as a new parliament really have no choice but to adopt this budget. There are a number of financial risks involved, and I want to name them now before the term of the new government, so that the Parliament and the people of St. Martin understand what the outgoing government has handed over to the new government. The first financial risk is the increasing cost of 70 million compared to 2023. These higher costs are caused in part by the higher interest cost due to the refinancing of loans that the Netherlands provided to us in the time of the hurricane and in the time of the COVID. Another part of the higher cost lies in personnel costs, especially the higher cost resulting from the recalibration of the Ministry of Justice with the development of the Functieboek. It is my belief that this process could have been completed much earlier by the previous administration, avoiding unnecessary problems with officials at the ministry and in the justice chain. In addition, the cost of this exercise and its coverage should also have taken place in earlier budgets and not in the present budget prepared by a caretaker government.
All right, we're going to conclude just for today with drama piece number 4, because you know we have to go out with a bang, right? Onde and Messalina, are you have no type of style? What's going on with you? Are you just reaching to Parliament and are you just going on like dirt bikes?
Madam Chair, I had a few questions that I would want to ask the ministers. But after listening and listening carefully to the MPs speaking before me, especially the MP that spoke directly before me, he painted a gloom, a dark, dark picture of this budget. He called it basically a budget of risk. Madam Chair, I'm a bit confused because in one sentence, it is said we can't approve this budget. Then in the other sentence, it is we must approve this budget. So, Madam Chair, I'm kind of confused when I hear the good MP talk about it being a budget of risk.
MP Marcelina, you have the opportunity to interrupt.
The MP that has now the floor is so impressed with what I have presented to Parliament and to the Council of Ministers that I think that he did not understand good what I said, but at no moment did I said that I will not or if I will approve this budget. In no moment I said it, just for clarity's sake.
Thank you, MP Marcelina. You may continue, MP Marlin.
But what I definitely heard, Madam Chair, is that the previous administration, seeing that my colleague MP is talking now about the previous administration, my question then is, which administration? Because from what I can see, the administration is still here. Reason why they presented this budget. Then I hear about the outgoing administration and the incoming administration. And the administration that coming in, which budget they will work from. So they have me a little confused.
Okay, the drama, I love it. Of course, we gotta move from the building before Marcelina come outside and kick my ass. Kick my ass. We'll be right back. That is the Morning Light Show. Thank you so much for watching. Until tomorrow, do have a safe and pleasant one. Bye-bye.